if I told you that one of the most horrifying monsters of folklore wasn't born in a horror movie or a haunted castle, but in the scorching deserts and ancient tombs of the Middle East? From whispering winds over forgotten ruins to the flickering lights of modern horror films, the ghoul has always haunted the spaces between life and death. But where did this creature come from? How did a myth from the sands of Arabia become a central figure in modern horror? Today, we unearth the dark, complex history of the ghoul, a flesh-eating spirit whose legacy spans thousands of years, and whose story is far stranger than fiction. Before the ghoul had a name, there were Galu demons, fearsome spirits of the ancient Mesopotamian underworld. In the mythologies of Sumer, Babylon and Assyria, the Galu were dark entities tied to death and punishment. These demons served Ereshkigal, the queen of the underworld, and their job was simple but horrifying: to drag the living down to the land of the dead. They were described as shadowy figures who stalked the night, feeding on blood and flesh, tormenting dreamers, and haunting the boundaries between the living world and the realm below. One of the oldest myths, the descent of Inanna, mentions these Galu as part of the infernal hierarchy. Inanna, the goddess of love and war, is stripped of her powers as she enters the underworld, and the Galu are there to enforce the rules of the dead. Sound familiar? Corpse eating, night stalking, underworld associations. It's the first sketch of the creature we now call Ghoul. Thousands of years later, in the deserts of pre-Islamic Arabia, the Ghoul took on new life and a new name. The Arabic word Ghoul literally translates to seize or to grab, which is exactly what these creatures were feared for. The Ghoul was a shape-shifting, flesh-eating monster that roamed the wilderness, lying in wait for the unsuspecting traveller. In many tales, the Ghoul would disguise itself as a lost traveller or beautiful woman, luring victims with illusions before revealing its monstrous form and devouring them alive. And unlike vampires or werewolves, ghouls weren't elegant or tragic. They were dirty, brutal, inhumane scavengers, feeding on carrion and rotting corpses left on desert battlefields. Over time, the ghoul became part of Islamic folklore and early Arabic literature, including 1001 Nights. In these tales, ghouls lived in abandoned ruins, spoke human languages, and sometimes interacted with the dead. They weren't just monsters, they were warnings about the dangers of isolation, the unpredictability of strangers, and the thin line between human and beast. As the Islamic world expanded into Persia, North Africa, and southern Europe, so too did the myth of the ghoul. Each region gave the creature its own twist. In Persian lore, ghouls were often demonic jinn, spirits of smoke and fire capable of great evil. In North African tales, ghouls became associated with curses and hauntings linked to tombs and unholy places. And in southern Europe, echoes of the ghoul appeared in stories of graveyard spirits and necrophages, beings that fed on the dead. Eventually, Western travellers and scholars began recording these stories, and the ghoul entered European literature as a grave-dwelling monster. The 18th century saw a rise in fascination with the supernatural. Gothic novels explored death, decay and the supernatural, and the ghoul was a perfect fit. In 1786, William Beckford's Vathek introduced Western readers to a version of the ghoul as demonic, hungry and seductive, inhabiting an infernal palace of suffering. From there, the ghoul crept into the background of European horror fiction. Often it wasn't the main monster, but a gruesome symbol, a reminder that even the dead weren't safe from being consumed. Then came the 20th century. In 1968, George A. Romero's Night of the Living Dead shocked the world with its portrayal of undead flesh-eaters, zombies that rose from the grave and feasted on the living. But here's a twist. Romero never used the word zombie. He called them ghouls. That's right, the modern zombie's roots lie directly in the ghoul mythos. Cannibalism, corpse consumption, and death come back to life. Today, ghouls appear in every corner of pop culture. In Fallout, ghouls are radioactive humans, burned, mutated, and often insane. Some are feral, others are tragic survivors. In Tokyo Ghoul, the monster is reimagined as a parallel species, beautiful, intelligent, but cursed to consume human flesh to survive. In Dungeons and Dragons, ghouls are undead creatures paralysing their prey before devouring it. Classic monsters for dungeon crawlers. Even in The Witcher, ghouls appear as battlefield scavengers, preying on corpses and cursed places. The modern ghoul is more than a horror trope. It's a mirror of society's fears. Radiation, mutation, loss of humanity, cannibalism, and isolation. Let's summarise the timeless traits of the ghoul. Shapeshifting. From beast to human, ghouls often deceive before they strike. Corpse consumption. Their hunger is always for the dead, sometimes the dying. Luring victims. Children and travellers are prime targets. Haunting grounds. Graveyards, deserts, battlefields. Always liminal, cursed spaces. Underworld origins. Whether Mesopotamian or Arabic, ghouls always trace back to death itself. In essence, a ghoul isn't just a monster, it's a symbol of death's reach, of fear's shape, and of what happens when the living cross into forbidden places. And there you have it, the chilling story of the ghoul. From the darkest pits of Mesopotamia to the neon-lit streets of anime Tokyo, this monster has adapted, evolved, and survived, just like us. What do you think? Are ghouls just stories? Or echoes of something much older, much deeper, and still watching us from the shadows? Leave a comment below with your thoughts, or your favourite ghoul from fiction. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to keep exploring the world's forgotten legends, monsters, and ancient mysteries. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and don't wander alone after dark.